Hello, I'm Elizabeth Tulija, PhD, PCC executive coach, and a former Wharton professor who recently joined TalentMotives as Chief Science Officer. Motivation is one of the most discussed and most misunderstood topics in the workplace because many leaders believe motivation is something they can create externally. But in reality, motivation is driven internally. And when that distinction isn't clear, organizations end up solving the wrong problem. You can't force motivation, but you can influence it. Motivation doesn't come from pressure or expectation. It comes from within the individual, from what naturally drives how they think and work. But leaders do play a critical role. They shape the environment. They define expectations. They structure roles. They influence how to work and how work is experienced. And that environment can either support motivation or restrict it. Most motivation strategies focus on the wrong things. Organizations often rely on incentives, compensation, and recognition programs. And while those can increase short-term effort, they don't create sustained engagement because they don't address how people actually experience their work. Motivation is not just about reward. It's about alignment. Motivation is driven by alignment, not pressure. When someone's role aligns with what naturally drives them, energy increases. Work feels engaging instead of draining. But when there's misalignment, even highly capable individuals struggle to sustain performance because they're constantly working against their natural tendencies. Burnout is often a motivation problem, not a workforce or workload problem. But people can handle high workloads when they're engaged. But when there is misalignment, even normal workloads feel exhausting because friction drains energy. And over time, that leads to burnout. So, the issue is not always how much someone is working. It's how they are working. People are motivated by different things. What drives one individual may not drive another. Some are motivated by achievement, others by structure, others by collaboration or autonomy. And these differences are not preferences. They are drivers of behavior. So when leaders apply a one-size-fits-all approach, motivation becomes inconsistent. Leaders often misread motivation signals. They see disengagement and interpret it as a lack of effort. They see inconsistency and assume capability issues. But often, these are signals of misalignment. And when the signal is misinterpreted, the response doesn't address the real issue. Motivation increases when people feel understood. When leaders understand what drives individuals, they can align roles and expectations more effectively. They can communicate in ways that resonate, and that creates a sense of connection and engagement because people feel that how they work is understood. Consistency in motivation leads to consistency in performance. Anyone can perform well occasionally, but sustained performance requires sustained energy, and sustained energy comes from alignment. When motivation is consistent, performance becomes more predictable. Motivation is not static, it evolves. As roles change, responsibilities increase, and environments shift, so do the factors that drive individuals. So, understanding motivation is not a one-time exercise. It requires ongoing awareness and ongoing action. Leaders need to continuously understand how their teams are experiencing their work. Motivation becomes measurable with the right framework. At TalentMotives, we focus on intrinsic drivers, the underlying factors that shape how individuals think, behave, and perform. When those drivers are understood, motivation becomes something leaders can work with, not guess at. And that creates a more effective, more sustainable approach to performance. Motivation isn't about pushing people harder. It's about creating alignment so that performance becomes natural, not forced.